Subscribe to Chug Chow wherever you get your podcast or visit chugandchow.com.
It's nice to have you here. Welcome to Chug and Chow. This is the podcast that takes you off the beaten path to discover America's most unforgettable local eateries and watering holes. I'm your host, Todd Newton, author of the book, Chug and Chow, the Tattooed Traveler's 50 Favorite Dive Bars and Food Joints Across America. Now, if you've been following our adventures, you know that the book, the podcast, we're not about finding the shiniest, newest restaurants or the places with the most Instagram followers. Don't care much about that. We're hunting for those gems that have soul, that have character, that have stories worth telling. Places where the locals go, where the coffee is strong, where the portions are generous, and the atmosphere feels like home. And I've been looking forward to this episode for a little while because we can all use some fresh mountain air, can't we? We're going to venture up to the San Bernardino Mountains, Big Bear Lake, California. We're going to pull into a place that's been feeding hungry mountain folk and weary travelers since 1982. Grizzly Manor Cafe in Big Bear Lake. Hard to believe it's man-made, isn't it? The woman seated on the rock beside mine appeared to be in her mid-40s, her black hair with streaks of gray pulled back into a loose ponytail, and a brown suede cowboy hat sat atop her head. She wore a thick flannel jacket, blue jeans. The square-toed cowboy boots on her feet indicated she was the real deal, a local, unlike me. "Excuse me?" I responded, thinking she couldn't have been speaking of the majestic body of water before us. We were just two of at least a dozen people who had pulled into Boulder Bay Park to admire the sunset. "You sure can't tell by looking at it right now," she continued with a smile. "Late 1880s, I believe. A dam created it." I was dumbfounded. I'd always taken Big Bear Lake to be one of Mother Nature's masterpieces. That's the beauty of travel, though. You learn something new at every stop. "I wouldn't think a man-made lake would look so, real," I responded. The woman rose from her seat. She brushed the dirt off her bottom and said, "The water comes from rainfall and the melting snow from up there in the mountains. I suppose that's real enough for me. Enjoy the sunset, friend." And with that, she walked back to her truck, drove away, leaving me there to take in the shades of deep orange and fiery red skirting across the water's surface. November is my favorite time of year to visit Big Bear Lake. The summer crowds have all returned home, and the changing of the leaves transforms the drive up the rim of the World Highway into the San Bernardino Mountains into a colorful adventure. With each curve, you're one turn closer to that first view of the lake, which is nothing short of sublime. Big Bear Lake is an ideal weekend getaway, especially for people looking to escape the craziness of Los Angeles. In just over 2 hours, one can leave the bumper-to-bumper traffic of the 101 freeway behind and become immersed in plush Jeffrey pines and almost 3,000 acres of water. The lake is 7 miles long and stretches over 2 miles at its widest point. Big Bear Lake is a 4-season destination, attracting close to 6 million visitors yearly. The mountain town is a haven for those who enjoy boating, hiking, water sports, snowboarding, and skiing, and, let's not forget, eating. Grizzly bears once roamed the area in abundance. Sadly, that is no longer true. They were wiped out in the early 1900s due to hunting and loss of habitat, but remain a part of California's identity. The grizzly bear is prominently displayed on the state flag and on the official seal. Black bears, however, were introduced to the region in the 1930s and are occasionally spotted in remote areas. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife estimates that 300 to 400 black bears reside here in the San Bernardino Mountains. And while they are generally shy and non-aggressive, visitors are reminded not to approach a black bear for any reason. As humans, we are responsible for respecting their space for both safety and conservation purposes. Big Bear Lake provides ample food, allowing the local bears to grow quite large. An adult black bear can weigh as much as 600 pounds and stand as tall as 7 feet on its hind legs. They are omnivores and consume everything from berries to fish to small mammals to scraps left by humans. What separates man from beast in such a remote location is decorum. Rather than relying on leftovers found at a campsite, well, I prefer an order of biscuits and gravy with a pancake or two on the side. The cuisine in Big Bear Lake can best be described as mountain comfort food. Oh, you'll have no trouble locating big, juicy burgers, fresh trout from the lake, wild game dishes such as elk chili, and even Alpine-style German food. But to me, nothing says warm and cozy like a hearty, homemade breakfast. And for the best on the mountain, I head straight to Grizzly Manor Cafe. Were it not for the snarling wooden bear statue beckoning you to enter, the small brown building would be easy to miss. To the casual observer, the exterior resembles countless souvenir shops and bait stores one might pass while taking in the sights. But what diners discover inside is what sets Grizzly Manor Cafe apart from other restaurants along Big Bear Boulevard or in the nearby shopping area known as The Village. The cafe's front door and walls are covered with more stickers than I've seen at any diner or dive bar. Some offer a clever joke, other a political statement, but not a single one comes off as offensive. In addition to the stickers, there are postcards and letters from customers as far away as Japan and Australia, praising both the food and the experience. Grizzly Manor Cafe is a place where you can let your hair down. The cook at the grill gives you a nod as you take your seat, and your server welcomes you with a pat on the back. Within minutes, you're part of the conversation at the counter, and you feel like one of the regulars. There are no strangers here. The staff won't allow it. And before I'd taken my first sip of hot coffee from a mug featuring the face of a bear saying, "Send more tourists. The last ones were delicious," I'd been asked how many tattoos cover my body and introduced to a young man at the table next to mine who was, as fate would have it, a tattoo artist. We'll dive further into that story in just a moment, but first let us welcome the owner of Grizzly Manor Cafe, Mary Worthington. It's great to have you here on CHUG CHOW. Mary, let's start our chat. As a local, how would you describe the majestic atmosphere, the majestic surroundings of Big Bear Lake, California?
Big Bear Lake is, I feel like majestic is a great word to describe it, like you said. We are about an hour drive from any other big town or city. So you have to, kind of commit to the drive if you're coming up here. But once you're here, we've got our own lake, we've got our own ski resorts. There's never a shortage of things to do if you like to live an active outdoor life. We've got tons of wildlife, the brightest clear skies that you can imagine at night because we're up in the elevation. I personally think it's kind of nice because we are sort of a getaway to a lot of really populated areas such as Los Angeles, San Diego, Las Vegas even, and Palm Springs.
And I know that you are born and raised in Big Bear Lake, area code 909 since birth, right?
Yes, sir.
What a great place to grow up. And in addition to the outdoor activities, the snowboarding, the skiing, and everything, you can't help but notice right away that Big Bear Lake has a wonderful cuisine scene. The mountain's a good place to be a foodie, isn't it?
Yes, it absolutely is. Yeah, we've got really, really old sweet shop in town, and we've got a couple of great pie shops like you had mentioned, some really great little Italian restaurants for dinner. We've got Great dive bar in the heart of town. So I feel like we've got food covered pretty well when you come up here.
Let's talk specifically about your place, Grizzly Manor Cafe. Can you give me a little rundown of its history?
Yes, absolutely. So the building has been in place since 1955. Um, Back then, it was called the Campus Donut Shop, across the street from the the Grizzly Manor. We have a school, so that used to be the old high school. It's now the middle school. So 1975, the original owner purchased Grizzly Manor Cafe. His name is Don. He had it from 1975 until 1992. And then in 1992, which is actually kind of a historic year for Big Bear because we had a massive earthquake come through town and followed by some very, very huge aftershocks. I want to say it was like a 6.9 and a 7.2 or something like that. So Jamie had the restaurant from 1992 up until 2022 when he sold it to me. I started working there in 2008.
Sort of interesting to think about all the times you must have driven past the restaurant on your way to school, and never once did you ever think that you'd own it one day.
Oh yeah, never. Even when I was working there, yeah, that wasn't really a thought in my head because I started there just as kind of like a hostess bus person type of position, and then slowly learned all the other positions, learned how to cook finally, and then place went up for sale, and I saw an opportunity.
In the book and earlier in this episode of the podcast, I told the story about how I just started talking tattoos with the manager and the cook, and then the guy and his girlfriend at the table to my left, and then the guy at the table to my right was a tattoo artist. And the next thing you know, we're involved in this big discussion about each other's tattoos. Is it always that homey, always that communal inside there?
I feel like it is, yes. There are some moments where, you're looking around the restaurant, especially on the weekends, and there's no familiar faces, but we have trained the staff to treat everybody that's coming through like their family. So we try to engage in as much small talk as possible and try to get, like you said, try to get people that are sitting around each other. Hopefully they can engage in conversation with each other. But I've seen a lot of really cool things like what you just talked about at the Manor, complete strangers walking out as friends. And there was this one lady that was up here for the summer last year. I guess that she was going through a divorce or something, but she ended up meeting one of our older regulars. He was this like 80-year-old man and he still comes in every day. But she ended up like leaving money for him here and there to pay for his breakfast, and then she ended up kind of like manipulating her schedule to where she would show up around the same time that he would get there. And
Wow.
she ended up moving back to where she was from, but then she came back to visit not too long ago, and she did the same thing. She left money for him so that next time he came for breakfast his meal was covered. And she was like, I just make sure that he knows how important, our friendship was, and he might not understand, but he got me through some hard times. And
Wow.
I love that I love that that's the vibe that we try to keep there, because you never know what people are going through. Sometimes they really need that conversation.
You're so right. You're so right. And speaking of the vibe, it's really cool inside. It's not your typical diner. It's certainly not, say, a Denny's. There's nothing cookie cutter about Grizzly Manor Cafe. There are posters and stickers and handwritten letters all over the walls and the ceiling. I believe I'd have to look at the Tattooed Traveler video that we filmed at your restaurant. It's on YouTube, but I believe I even slapped a Tattooed Traveler sticker on the wall there somewhere. Can you describe the interior for us?
That's awesome. So the stickers on the walls started with the second owner, with Jamie. So around the early 90s, kind of around the same time that snowboarding was really starting to explode. We started to see a little bit of a shift in the town with lots of younger faces coming up to hit the slopes, not just, the typical skiing crowd that you would see. Not to label snowboarders, but they're a little bit more of a rowdy crowd, and you get a lot of like young thrill seekers and stuff like that coming through. So we started to get, I guess, what you could call the snowboarding crowd coming through. And I don't know how or when or what exactly the very first sticker was, but Jamie started letting the snowboarders put stickers up, and that's kind of where it started. And it's evolved pretty significantly to people leaving notes on the walls. So if you get to reading some of the notes, some of them are really, really cool. Like people coming up into town that are celebrating, newly expecting couples, people that are celebrating being engaged, and just all kinds of cool little notes on the walls, and some really, really funny ones as well.
From all over the world, too.
And there's, foreign currency. There's money from all over the world on the walls. Yeah, lots of notes from people that are from very, very far away places that I could only hope to travel to one day. So I think it's really neat. I try not to let anything fall off unless it's really time for it to go, because it's like, those are people's, it's like the Goonies when he's like, those are their wishes. Those are their memories.
Right. We say all the time that a place is only as good as the plate of food that it places before you. Let's talk about the menu at Grizzly Manor Cafe. There's one plate. The name escapes me. It's like your biggest plate, almost impossible to eat. What is that one on the menu?
Is it the Fat Pat?
Yes, the Fat Pat. And that's the biscuits, right? And the pancakes.
Yeah, 3 biscuits and gravy with bacon, ham, and sausage, melted cheese on top, 3 eggs your style with hash browns. That one is a good one to split, in my opinion.
And there's a challenge, right? Isn't there almost a we dare you to eat this item on the menu? Yeah,
it's a pancake challenge, so it's 6 of those pancakes in an hour.
And we should mention that these are your famous manhole cover sized pancakes, about the size of your steering wheel. Can you recall offhand how many people have accomplished that?
Right now, I think we're up to, I think like about 12 people. And, the funny thing is, up until last year, about a year and a half ago, we only had 4 people on the wall. And this is, 15, 16 years running. We had the same 4 people on the wall.
Wow.
And somebody came in and did it, and it went, it didn't really go viral, but we uploaded it to our social media, and we started getting competitive eaters coming through.
Right.
So in a very short amount of time, that number of people kind of exploded up. So the quickest that I've seen it done is 7 minutes and 47 seconds.
Jeez. And make no mistake about it, there would be no skiing or snowboarding after you ate 6 of those pancakes. That's a nap. The challenge. Oh, here it is. Las Vegas resident Derek Hendrickson, ranked number 8 globally as a competitive eater. He did it in October of 23. He's 35 years old, calls himself Vegas Heavy D. So what happens? You get on the Wall of Fame? Or
yeah, we give you $50 and then we give you a t-shirt.
And you can say you did it.
Yeah, and we'll pay for the meal if you can do it. We'll pay for it.
Oh, well, the only thing better than a plate of Grizzly Manor Cafe pancakes is a free plate of Grizzly Manor pancakes. Mary Worthington, owner of Grizzly Manor Cafe in Big Bear Lake, California. I really enjoyed speaking with you, and I thank you for your time, and I can't wait to get back up there on the mountain. My first stop will be Grizzly Manor Cafe. Thank you so much.
Right on. I'm super excited. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your book.
Well, I appreciate that. And you can order your copy of the book at chugandchow.com. It's also available on Amazon. Chug Chow, the Tattooed Traveler's 50 favorite dive bars and food joints across America. For every copy sold, we provide 10 meals to a family experiencing food insecurity. We're very proud of that. And while I'll never be able to boast to my children about conquering the pancake challenge at Grizzly Manor Cafe, I'm happy leaving that to the professionals. I did, however, place that Tattooed Traveler sticker on the wall right beneath the one that reads, "Eat more, worry less, until your pants don't fit." That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Chug and Chow. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode, so you never miss another tasty destination. Write us a review if you would, and throw us 5 stars on whatever platform you're listening to us on. That always helps us expose more listeners and readers just like you to the best that our country has to offer. I'm Todd Newton, and until you and I meet again a little further on down the road, travel safely.
Chug Chow is produced by the host with the most LLC. All rights reserved.